Once was a land of woe and strife, where the people were bereft of hope. They prayed to their gods of might and light to deliver the heroes of old. Instead they got heroes. Did you hear the quotes in my voice of moral ambiguity? They may help or may not help you at all, depends on what's in it for them. They kick and they punch and they maul and they smash, they lie and they scheme and they burn and they slash. Succeed or fail, it adds to the tale. Dungeons and Debacle starts now. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. I am your host and dungeon master Kevin. Going around the table, Blake.
Hey, I'm Blake. I'll be playing Juliet, the Dragonborn eldritch knight / wizard.
And Hannah.
I'm Hannah, and I'll be playing Talia, the human rogue.
And John.
Hello, I play Alunodas, Elven monk, who is playing Jacques McSweeney at the Clan McSweeney, a dwarven merchant, even there he has a dwarven beard.
That is so meta.
Yep.
And Shane.
That's me playing Alexander the Human Bard.
And this week, Anna is not going to be able to join us, but hopefully we will get her back next week. She is having some internet issues. So, last time on Dungeons and Debacles podcast, you had left the inn and hired a boat to take you out of Woodbine, down the river to Lescain or Kala. The boat captain, Yev, said he could take you as far as Hedgedale. So you paid him and hopped on board and headed on down the river. After a couple of stops, because it's going to take you a couple of days to get to Hedgedale, you find yourselves at a large clearing that looks as if it had been used as a campsite by multiple people over the years. There's even some structures that have been built here and a large fire pit. While you are unpacking the boats and getting your dinner together, three figures appeared out of the woods, carrying a deer. Turns out they are some half-elf hunters from the south who are making their way here to the clearing to camp for the night. They offered to share their venison, and Yev offered to share his ale. And after a large meal and this exhausting boat trip down the river, since some of you may have not be used to traveling on the waves, you find yourselves ready to sleep, because after the trip here and the battles in the Fae, you've been pretty weary. And the boat hasn't been comfortable, even though the hunters and the boatmen are laughing and getting loud as they drink. You're going to lie down, and you almost instantly fall asleep as your head hits the pillow. Alexander, you drifted off to sleep, and strangely, you have a dream about your mom and your dad. And you think it's strange because you haven't thought about them in a long time. Then the dream changes, and you're back inside the void in that dagger. And the darkness here is oppressive, except for the faint purple glow on the horizon that's barely visible until you adjust your eyes, and even then, the glow exists kind of like in your peripheral vision. And it seems to disappear as you try to focus on it. You can now hear faintly your mother and your father wailing in the distance, crying out for mercy and calling your name. And they're screaming, "Why? Why, Alexander? Why did you do this to us?" And then you think to yourself, do I care that much about my parents? I mean, I try to say I don't, and they've done you wrong so many times, but that isn't true, not exactly. Maybe deep down, maybe you feel something for them. This is a terrible dream, and maybe I'll just wake up. And you try, but there's something different about this, and you realize it's no ordinary nightmare. And the wailings and the accusations and pleas for mercy continue for what seems like days. You try to cover your ears, but it doesn't help. Until you feel more than see an even darker shadow against the black start to approach you. And then it's to your right. And then it's to your left. And you turn around and it's behind you. Then you turn around again and the shadows surrounded you. And then you're going to hear this low rumble that gets louder and louder until the ground starts to shake. And then you feel this rumbling inside you until you feel like you're being shaken apart. And then a pain. And then the rumbling stops. And then you hear a long exhale. And the previous still air feels like a hurricane force wind. You fight it and almost tumble over. And then it stops. And then in front of you, you see a pair of faintly glowing yellow eyes the size of wagon wheels, and then 6 more smaller eyes the size of your fist that hover in the darkness. And a voice screams inside your head. You cover your ears, but it doesn't lessen the rattling going on inside your head. And it says,
I tire of this mortal. Many times you've had the opportunity to defeat me and have failed, either from your incompetence or your cowardice. I offered you power, and this is what you serve in return.
I guess.
And there's a roar, and the same bone-shattering rumble starts again, and a few moments later it subsides. And then Ornon says again,
I hunger. It's been days since I fed. You will feed me. I demand it, and you will be punished for your neglect.
And then you feel a burning in your hands and it crawls up your arms, and you look down and see those black veins have returned. And Ornon screams,
I will have you slowly, bit by bit, until you are a gibbering mad husk. But before that, I will have anyone close to you and anyone you have ever cared about, just like poor Jarek.
And then there's another roar, and you feel like you'll be torn apart, and then you're awake. Gasping for breath, you think, what a terrible dream. But you look down and the dagger's in your hand, and the black veins from the dream are running from your hand to your elbow, and it burns. I'm going to need you to give me a charisma saving throw.
I have the capability.
Nice.
21.
All right. So you hear a scream in your head from Ornon that says,
You dare defy me?
and you look down and the black veins spread up to your bicep, and you have no control over your hand as you slice your wrist with the dagger, and the pain is unbearable. You try to scream, but the sound doesn't come out. You watch as your now blackish blood seeps into the dagger. Then the world becomes a narrowing black tunnel as you lose control of your body. Need you to roll me a d10.
D10? Ooh.
Yep.
7.
So, first of all, you're going to take 12 points of necrotic damage.
Dang.
And then, in your tunnel vision, you're going to look around the camp, and everyone's asleep. And then you hear Ornon say,
Who should I take first?
and then you are going to move across the campsite here, over behind Ren, this hunter that you met earlier. Give me one more charisma save.
Rin the Fair.
19.
All right. So you hold the dagger above your head, and you try to pull it back down and put it back in its sheath, but you just can't. Give me an attack roll.
12.
All right. So you plunge the dagger down into the back of this wood elf here, and you're gonna miss. And the dagger goes into his bedroll pillow. At this point, give me a stealth check.
9.
All right. So Luna,
I hear that.
you heard that.
Okay, I'm going to roll upright, look around, I'm going to assess the situation, and I'm going to kick Juliet, and then I'm going to run over, and I'm going to drop kick Alexander. You know, wrestling style. Double feet to the chest.
Okay, go ahead and Alexander and Luno roll initiative. So, Luno, you wake up and you see Alexander crouched down over top of this halfling, or the half-elf over here, with the dagger in his pillow. Juliet, are you waking up?
Yes.
All right, so you're going to see much the same thing. And I'm going to roll, now that everybody is getting up, I'm going to roll perception checks for Aris and Matt.
Do I?
Do passive perception?
They're asleep, so maybe not.
Yeah, that would be their passive perception, which is 12. So they would hear what's going on because you rolled a 9 on that check.
Wow, way to keep my rolls against me. Thought we had something, Kevin. Can't believe you're playing by the rules.
All right. So Juliet, are you getting into initiative?
Yes. Oh, let me roll that. Shoot. It's a natural 20, which goes to a 19.
A 19.08.
Yeah.
Let it be known.
All right. So I will let you go first, and then Aris and Matt will be waking up next round. All right. So Juliet, you go first. What are you doing?
All right. So the scene is set that Alexander is about to stab him.
It looks like he's tried to stab him, but has missed,
okay.
and the dagger is currently planted into this bedroll.
Alright, Juliet's gonna leap up and try and grapple Alexander to stop him from continuing.
Alright, give me opposed athletic checks, and Alexander, you can either use athletics or acrobatics if you're trained.
Both of those are awful.
Or I guess it'd just be your dex then.
Acrobatics has 3.
12.
And Alexander, your acrobatics was 7. So Juliet, you are able to run over here out of the camp and tackle Alexander and grapple him.
Alexander, what the heck are you doing?
Don't really have much agency right now.
Alright, that's it for Juliet.
And then you hear another voice that sounds like him, but like not. It's much more gravelly. Say,
You'll be next, lizard woman.
all right, Luno, you're up.
Does Talia hear any of this?
What's your passive perception?
10.
Yeah, you would hear it.
Okay, I'll wait until after Luno. I just want to know what's going on.
Everybody's going to be awake here pretty soon. All right. So, Luna, what are you doing?
I'm going to use my action, just in case, to slip into my Jacques McSweeney disguise. And I'm going to walk over there and say, okay, Alexander, Alexander, is this going to be... No, that's Scottish. But then they get that French. Be French. Okay, nice French. And Alexander, is this going to be a problem? Do we need to do something about this? Wait, is your name even Alexander anymore? What was it? Your fake name?
I don't know.
Rod
Maybe I
Swanson.
should kill you before you figure out.
Rod Swanson.
Rod Swanson.
Yeah,
That's
that's
going to
my-
be a problem, do we? Maybe we should just kill him and drop his body in the river.
All right. Is that it for your turn?
Yes.
All right, Alexander, you are up. Me another acrobatics or athletics check to try to get out of Juliet's arms.
Nice.
22 to acrobatics.
18 athletics.
All right, so Alexander, you are able to slip out of her grasp. That would be it for your action. So next would be Juliet again.
At some point, can Talia get in this?
Yeah, go ahead and put
Yeah,
yourself
Talia
in
wanted to get
initiative.
in.
Cool. Thank you.
All right,
Okay,
Juliet, what are you doing?
Juliet is going to cast a spell on him.
Are you a
that
hex
spell
girl?
Is going to be... What's that?
Ex-girl?
Juliet is going to cast... I don't know.
Hold person.
Okay. No, I don't have hold person repaired. I don't have any of that stuff repaired. Juliet is going to slap Alexander to get him out of it.
Okay, roll an attack roll.
20 to hit. Does that hit you? I think so, right?
Yeah, that'll hit him.
All right,
He's
so
got
that's
like an
5
AC of 14.
damage. Okay. Alexander, snap out of it.
Doesn't appear to have any effect.
God damn it.
Luna.
All right, I'm going to dash across. Well, not dash, but just go across, grab my quarterstaff, and come back and start dealing subdual damage to Alexander. This shit isn't cool.
Okay.
All right, attacking Alexander.
It's like a new album.
Okay, so 15 to hit the first time. I don't know Alexander's AC, but he wouldn't have been wearing armor, so probably not high.
It would be his regular AC is 15, but he wears leather armor, so he could sleep in it.
Okay. Well, either way, 15
It
would
hits.
hit, so that's 9 damage. Uh-oh. Crit. 28 more damage, or 28 to hit, so 13 more damage.
And roll the crit
I'm
chart.
not trying to kill you, but I'm not trying not to kill you too much.
So what's the damage from the crits?
And I rolled a 12 for the crit. 13 more damage from the crit.
Okay.
12. Fleet of foot. You quickly attack your opponent and can shift up your movement even if you've already used your move action. If another creature is within your movement, you can make a basic melee attack on that creature. Spellcasters can make a melee or cast a free cantrip.
So another basic attack from that for another 7 damage. Alright, and let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick bonus strike. I'm not gonna use up any of my chi points on this. Oh, damn, on this. So all total 9 plus 13 is 22, plus 7 more is 29 damage to Alexander. Subdual, trying not to kill him.
And Alexander is going to turn around and that other unearthly voice say,
I'll kill you too, Elf.
and next up is Talia. What are you doing?
So Talia was in the tent, like a fool, and so she's gonna come out and just be like, "Hey, what the hell is going on?"
The dagger thing, you know. It's Such a pain in the ass. Wait, you do know about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he told us.
Okay, yeah.
And then Talia is going to
Throw a dagger at him.
throw a dagger at him. 16.
Oh, really? I was joking.
That hits.
Sally doesn't fuck around.
And then offhand.
Oh, God.
20. She's just gonna kind of catch her daggers again and then shrug and be like,
Don't
I
forget
mean, if
sneak
this is
attack.
what we're doing, this is what we're doing.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, sneak attack. Non-lethal damage.
I don't know that you can
Maybe
do
for his
non-lethal with a
You-
rage.
You cannot.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then, sorry, Alexander.
Down.
All right.
He's down. I mean,
All right. So around this time,
About
Ren,
350.
Aris, and Matt are going to wake up. Vikala is still asleep, and so is the two boatmen, and Yev is starting to rouse, and you hear Aris look over and sees this fight happening basically over top of his brother Ren. Gets up on his elbows and pulls out a dagger and says, "What goes on here?"
It was dinner theater.
Alexander was going crazy, so we stopped him. I don't suppose any of you have healing magics, because now he has 2 knives embedded in him?
no, they're back in my hands.
Oh, right.
Well, what do you mean he went crazy?
He just started attacking. He was going after Ren, but said something about killing us all, so... Yeah.
And Ren looks down at he's waking up too, and he's on his up on his elbows and sees this stab cut through his bedroll. And he looks at that, and then looks at Alexander, who's still holding that dagger, and says, "Well, why would he do that? I ain't done nothing to him."
We say the words crazy. He was crazy. He went crazy.
And Aris says, "Does this happen often? How could you travel with a person like that?"
It's actually never happened before. Talia's gonna be wiping off her daggers on her sleeves. Just never see this happen before.
That's right, you haven't seen it happen before.
No.
The one person who has
He was
isn't here.
asleep.
Yep.
So Matt's gonna go over. He's gonna wake up Yev and explain the situation, what's going on. And Yev says, well, what are we gonna do about this? Looks like your friend's bleeding out over there."
Oh, yeah, CPR. Come on, let's do it.
Around this time,
Don't know. I think
Vic
better
will
for
have
them to
gotten
die.
up and come over and assess the situation, and does lay on hands and brings him back up to 5 hit points. Alexander, give me another charisma save.
9.
So,
I thought we had a rule about tying people up before we heal them.
Vigcalia says, "I was not aware of that rule." So,
Keep it in mind for the future.
Alexander is going to try to get to his feet and lunge at Vic. Give me an attack roll, Alexander.
Arg. 19.
That'll probably hit.
Yeah, roll your
That will
damage.
hit, because she's not sleeping in her armor, is she?
No.
4 damage.
All right. So, she winces back from this dagger that's left like this black smoke coming from the wound. And now Aris, Matt, and Ren are going to get into the initiative.
This is going downhill really fast.
Yes, it is.
R.I.P. Alexander. It's been nice playing you.
All right.
Do you have plans for your next character?
A few.
Juliet, you're up. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna punch Alexander. Some dual damage. Or I guess non-lethal they call it in this edition.
Yeah, you can call it too when you knock somebody unconscious. Or knock them to 0.
Ooh, only a 10.
Except you can't knock somebody unconscious with a thrown dagger, Talia.
Nope.
FYI.
Yeah, you can't do
I
that.
don't
with-
think a 10 hits, right?
No, it doesn't.
Alright,
you should
that's
have
it for
advantage.
Juliet.
Oh, yeah, you do have it. What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Flanking?
Yeah, with Luna.
Alright, let me try this advantage. A 9. Okay, that's it for Juliet.
I want to point out that you have a +7 to your attacks somehow.
Yep.
And you still... Alright, so now it's me again. Alright. I'm going to be doing non-lethal damage. Going to just punch and smack the fuck out of him. 29 more damage, he should be back down.
Oh, yeah, he's back out.
At this time, I say we either throw him in the river or we tie him up before we bring him back into consciousness. Yes?
Ours.
Talia looks at her daggers and says, I mean, I feel like we should just end it for him.
I think that might be best.
Are you two that callous? At least try and get him some help. We'll tie him up and then bring him up to... And I'll keep watch on him tonight.
It is your responsibility. If he kills anyone, you will have to clean it up. Also, when
Yes,
he poops,
yes,
you will
I
have to
know.
clean it up.
I'll stay up with you, Juliet.
Thank you, dear.
And,
Not Juliet. I will say whatever name that she is pretending to go by at this time.
And
Was it
For
Julie?
legal
Starstorm.
reasons, that's a lie.
So, Yev's going to say, it's like a totally different... he's like a wild animal. He's not even like a person.
Hence my suggestion of the river. My fair dragon lady here has volunteered to watch after him. That is on her.
Do you have any idea what could have caused that? Did he get in the wrong way with like a magic user or something and got a curse, or did he eat some bad mushrooms? Or I don't think that venison was bad.
I think it may have been stress on his mind. We've been through quite a lot, and he's had to do a lot of killing. It might have just overwhelmed him.
Oh, like that PTSD I've been hearing about.
Exactly.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Quick question: Has I haven't been healed, have I?
You've been knocked
you were-
unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
You're not
stainless.
dead.
Okay, I just want to make sure if I should be making death saving throws
Yeah,
right.
Juliet's going to be tying up Alexander, so Vic can heal him safely.
Yeah, you are currently at 0 hit points, but you're stable. They were using non-lethal.
Well, some of
This
us.
time.
Talia's just going to walk up to you and just poke you for 1 hit point. Automatic 2 death save fails.
No, she won't do that yet.
Just going to poke you a little bit. And Ren's going to say, well, I'm going to stay up with you and help keep watch. I don't think I could sleep now anyway, but you just keep him away from me. And
Oh, I'll make sure you're safe.
and they said, Yev's going to say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep well with him so close. Why don't you take him out of the camp a little bit? That way we got plenty of warning if he gets loose or something.
Juliet's going to drag him over to this bale of hay in this cart. I don't know if that's actually there.
That is.
And, okay. She's going to kind of lean against the hay for some comfort, and Alexander's going to be, like, right on the ground. And Juliet's just going to keep watch.
All right. So everybody goes to back to sleep. At this point, it's probably about 4 o'clock in the morning when this happened. So it's not very long till dawn. And everybody wakes back up and starts making breakfast out of what was left over from this venison. And Eris, Ren, and Matt are going to say that they're going to head back down into the woods on their way back home. And Yev says, so I guess here's the matter of the boat now. I don't know that I necessarily feel safe taking y'all now that, you know, you got your friend there that went a little crazy.
Okay, so now it's just Matt by himself?
No, Matt, Ren, and Eris, the hunters, they were taken back off down into the woods. So you got Yev and then the two boat his two boat hands.
And maybe we could increase your pay, hazard pay, if you will.
Well,
you could put him on a dinghy, drag him from the back.
We don't really have anything like that. Maybe if you had like a door or plank of wood, but I don't know.
With a bag of holding, we could sticking out.
A what?
A bag of
Can
holding.
slice his way out.
Well, I mean, if you could promise me that he ain't going to get out and you keep an eye on him, maybe I can take you down to Hedgedale, but I'm just real shook right now.
Going to say in Draconic, maybe we should just, kill them all and head on down. I don't really want people talking about this. This is
Juliet's
a problem.
gonna angrily hiss back. What are you talking about? We're keeping Alexander, and we're going to Kala, and that's final.
No, we keep fine. We'll keep Alexander alive, but we don't have any real connection to these guys, and we don't want them to talk, do we?
We're not gonna kill them. Why would we do that?
Because
none of us can
talk
sail.
about the guy who went crazy and tried to kill everyone. But okay, all right.
As Yev watches this conversation that gets heated, and he's just like, it's like back and forth, like watching a tennis match, and you see him getting really uncomfortable.
Very well. We are going to tie him very, very firmly with his head just above the water. How about this? He will not be on the boat. And then if he gets free, he will just be in the water.
I will tie him up and keep him safe, and he will be my responsibility. But we're not putting him on the side of the boat above the water. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, how is it gonna hold me by my neck?
Hey, you're not awake.
I'm being meta. Leave me alone. I just want to make a joke about being held by my neck.
Coo! Metagaming pigeon.
That is I.
Okay, so Yev says, well, I guess you keep him up here near the front of the boat and tied up and keep watch on him. I guess I'll feel safe enough, but my price just went up. That's going to be another 20 gold.
Yeah.
Juliet's gonna hand them 20 gold.
And he takes it and says, well, you all just go ahead and take your friend and get him up here on the front of the boat, and we'll start loading up.
Well, very well, friend.
Like, how is he tied? Like, did we hog tie him? Do we put a stick through his arms and legs and carry him on the boat like that, or?
Spit
I was
roast
thinking
him.
a stick. Yeah.
I'm thinking we mummify him.
I don't think that's such a good idea.
He will
Actually, if
not
we had
be
a
able to
cleric,
move
we
that
could
way.
keep knocking him unconscious and use Spare the Dying. Does Vic have Spare the Dying? We could just be punching him the whole ride.
I think she does have Spare the Dying. Hold on.
Okay, let's not do that. Vic would get mad having to waste her time on that. We'll keep him tied up with a stick behind his back, so he's tied to something sturdy at least. Juliet's going to be holding him firmly at the front of the boat, and hopefully Vikala will heal him so he is back up to a reasonable amount of HP.
And Talia is going to be sitting with Juliet with her daggers in her hands.
How safe? I'll be right back.
I recommend you stab him over and over again the first time he tries to kill anyone.
So, the boat gets loaded back up, and the boatmen here push off the shore, and you start making your way down river. Alexander, you are having a bad day. Now that you're unconscious, you are back in that dream of being inside the dagger, and you were just being tortured with like the screams and cries of your parents, and you hear Jarek in the background screaming, and the whole time Ornon is chasing you through this void. You do have some brief moments of consciousness, and Juliet and Talia are going to see you stir a little bit and open your eyes, but your eyes are rolled back in your head, and you're almost immediately back unconscious. And this is going to go on for probably the most of your trip. Let me move you back over here to the world map. So you're back out on the water, and you are currently around in the Milan area. You cross this fork, and about 10 hours later, you are going to find yourselves docking at Hedgedale. It's starting to get about dusk when you dock. You look around the town, and for it getting near dusk, most towns are shutting down for the day, as there's they've got to get up early next day to farm or do their chores or whatnot. The town seems to be coming alive at this point. You see children running around the streets, and there's music in the air, and you're seeing some vendors set up some food stands and some stands where people can get ale. And as you see these children running around the streets, you're going to notice that they are wearing these raven masks, and they appear to be singing and taunting each other and chasing each other around the streets with sticks.
Yes, the famous festival of the Raven Queen of Hedgedale, where people murder one another festively in the streets. Very well known to the dwarves.
I'm not sure that's actually it, but maybe it is a Raven Queen kind of thing. I can't imagine why people would otherwise wear those kinds of masks.
Yeah, says, I don't think that's a thing, Mr. What was it, Jacques?
Jacques McSweeney, or Declan McSweeney.
Clam McSweeney. That's not really a thing. This is the festival of the night. It pays homage to the Raven Queen. It's pretty big here. With their proximity to that spooky witching woods and the Raven Queen temple up there to the west, they just got done with the harvest, and the nights are getting a little bit longer. It's their way of driving off the evil spirits of the night and the spirits out there in the woods. It's also for honoring their ancestors who've passed. I doubt many actual worshippers of the Lady of Death are out here, but they do ask for her protection for their dearly departed. A little superstitious if you ask me, but who am I to judge? It's still a good time. They got food and music and games and stories. This goes on for a few nights. We're actually kind of lucky to get here on the first night. It starts 3 nights before the new moon, I think. And on that last night, they have this huge bonfire, and they light up the whole town with torches and candles, drive away the darkness till the morning. And they have this competition between these people they call the champions of the Queen. And they have to stay up all night and keep the torches and fires lit. It's more a drinking contest than anything else, and the winner gets this cloak made of raven feathers that they keep until the next festival. It's kind of a thing. I don't get it, but like I said, who am I to judge? But you get a couple of these townies into their drinks, they'll tell you about this thing that some of them young bucks do to test their bravery. They go out into the Raven Queen temple on the last night of the festival, and they have to stay inside the whole night. They say no one ever makes it the whole night, though. They say you used to do this thing where the Bravens would go out in the woods looking for the witch out there. But they say they haven't done that in about 20 years or so, because some of them didn't come back.
They look like plague doctors. Talia's gonna kind of shiver.
And around that time, you're on the docks and you see this group of kids running down the street, chasing another kid who is in like this long black wig down the street, and they're all wearing the kids chasing this kid in the black wig are all wearing ravens heads, and one of them is going to come up to you and like kind of poke you with the stick. You're dead for good, ain't no coming back for you. And then is going to take off running down the street after the other kids.
That is grossly offensive. I am not dead.
Talia, please don't use actual knives during this holiday.
But what if I'm
Except
supposed to?
What if you're supposed to use knives to kill people? Like kids? Is that the question?
No. What if like there's some game where I have to throw knives? I'm really good at that.
Oh. That makes more sense.
I think that's more of an adult game.
But let us find an inn, and we can decide what we are going to do about Rod Swanson.
Does everyone have camouflage? And actually, Alexander, are you fine to, continue on?
Am I, Kevin?
You probably regained consciousness about an hour before you made dock at Hedgedale. At this point, you're no longer under the influence of Ornon.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm a newly unpossessed man.
What languages does Alexander speak besides common?
You said you're a new man, and yes, says that's fine and good and all, but if you could please get off my boat as soon as possible, that sure would be appreciated.
Yeah, me too. I'm tired of being on a boat.
Thank you for your services, good sir. Perhaps we should part ways now.
I think that'd be for the best.
Alright, so we untie Alexander and step off the boat.
Hedgedale.
Well, like you suggested, Mr. Jacques?
Sweeney. The Glenmixie.
Mr. McSweeney, we will go to an inn and see where we go from there. Sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Alright,
We are going to try and find an inn.
alright, so you head off the docks here, and Hedgedale's a fairly good-sized village. You estimate it's probably about, I don't know, a quarter of a mile, about like an eighth of a mile. There appears to be, a fair amount of businesses here. There's probably about 24 shops, and you're seeing some vendors pop up on the street, and you're seeing people that are kind of finely dressed, some that appear to be, people that live in town, and some others that are a little bit more poorly dressed in what appears to be like farmers' clothes that have come out of the farms near the town. Everybody seems to be having a great time. There's the smell of like roast pork and chicken and mutton in the air. As you go through these stands, you see street meat vendors. There's people who have stands with like these apples that appear to have some sort of like caramel coating on them, with a likeness of a raven on them, with like the stick being the beak of the raven. As you walk through these stands, you're also going to see some vendors who appear to be selling some of these masks of these ravens. But everybody's out on the street. Their kids, like I said, are running through the streets here, chasing each other with these raven masks on. There's some musicians out on the street where there's like this makeshift stage. And everybody generally seems to be having a pretty great time. As the sun sets, they bring out the torches, and the atmosphere is getting a little bit more raucous as everybody has been into the ale at this point, or their wine. But eventually, you are going to come to one of the larger buildings in here on this main street going through the town that has the likeness of a raven over the door. And it actually is called the Raven's Crest. It is a 3-story building. It looks like it's not rough wood, but it hasn't been whitewashed or anything like that. There's several horses that are tied out in front. You see some men and women who are out on the front covered porch of this place that appear to be drinking and smoking pipes and laughing and telling stories.
Looks lively enough. Let's go.
All right, so you walk in, and it is a very large common room that appears to be packed. There's probably 25 or 30 tables, and every seat appears to be taken. There's a lot of people standing in the room, milling about, talking. There's lots of laughter. The strong smell of spilled ale that's hit the floor, and as people are bumping into each other and dancing and moving around. You make your way to the bar, and you are going to see a human woman behind the bar who apparently is putting together drink orders for the servers who are moving back and forth between the tables.
Greetings, good woman. I'm Jacques McSweeney, the Clan McSweeney. I require lodgings for myself and my companions.
How many you got?
5.
I mean, we're kind of full up because of, the festival. I might have one room. I don't know that you'd be comfortable all sleeping in it. It's kind of one of the smaller ones, but we had, I don't want to say lodging, but some people can stay out in the hayloft in the stable if you need be.
I believe that would be acceptable for my servants. How much will it be for this lodging?
That'll be 5 gold pieces.
That is exorbitant.
Well, I mean, it is festival rate, and then you got hospitality tax for the city.
That makes no sense to me, but I will pay. Here you go. Here is 5 gold.
Well, if anybody would know what supply and demand is, I'd think it'd be a dwarf, but sure.
So I hand over the 5 gold.
Okay, and she takes the 5 gold and hands you a key and says, it's up on the 3rd floor, on the right, 2 doors down. It's room 33. You can't miss it. Y'all want anything to drink?
We should probably... Can we secure the loft as well?
Oh, yeah, that's sure. You could do that.
And how much would that be?
I'll just let you sleep out there since you paid for a room.
Awesome. How much would it be to make sure no one else does?
Well, I mean, we don't really guard the stables, so, I mean, any drunk could come out there and climb in, I guess, but, I think that'd be up to you.
Okay. Talia's gonna look very pointedly at Juliet and say, I think that's where we'll stay with Dad, right? And she's gonna look over at Alexander since, they're both humans and that makes sense.
Oh, right, yes.
The innkeeper's gonna say, well, I don't know what your plans are, but we got a special treat tonight. We got Bartleby the Bard's gonna be in town. He's supposed to be here any minute. And then right around that time, as she says that, you are going to see this tall, grayed-haired man with this long hair and a long gray beard walk through the doors, and he's wearing this large red hat and red cloak, like think Monty Python Spanish Inquisition, like red hat, like cardinal hat, and comes in and pulls out a lute and strums a chord and says, "Friends, I am here!" And you see everybody turn and just lose their mind. You would recognize this as a pretty famous bard. He is one of the bards in that Crossbows and Daisies. You recognize him from the Tower of Insight that you hired to cause the distraction. So everybody's going nuts, and he walks up on stage and says, "Where should I begin? Oh, I know. To tell that most of you, I would assume all of you, if you're from Hedgedale, would recognize a tale of woe and tragedy that happened on this very night several years ago. The tale of the tragedy of Jarek the Entertainer." And I think that's where we'll end it right there.
Nice.
Tale as old as time.
Death as old as rhyme.
Alexander and the dagger.
Murdering hobos in the street.
Shane, I'm super sorry.
That's fine.
I feel bad.
You gotta do what you gotta do. It's getting serious. You've ignored this problem for too long.
Yeah, we've really thrown to the wind the phrase, "take care of yourself."
Either we should let him just start murdering townspeople, or we should kill him and dump his body
That's
in the
the
river.
plan.
Those are really the only two options at this point.
My plan was
That is not true.
I was just gonna go invisible and then find some drunk people, like somebody drunk in a fucking abandoned alley, and then cast major illusion so it's kind of soundproof and nobody can get in, and then just narc them.
I mean, that's a third option.
I mean, or I could just feed the dagger.
I was gonna say, maybe we should look for a cleric or something.
Yeah, we can do that.
We
But I
would
mean,
need
is
a
there somebody
major evil
powerful?
cleric.
Well, you already met like a major evil cleric, and she couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's why I say we just kill him.
Hey,
But
That
maybe if we learn more about the bard, Jarek, we can figure out something about the dagger and how to deal with it.
Pretty sure they killed him.
I'm standing right here, dude.
Yeah, you really don't know the whole tale. Maybe you could
Well,
find
he's
out
dead.
from
It
the
was the
bard
dagger.
who's getting ready to tell it.
Yeah, Smith. What? That sounds like a good idea, Kevin. I'm not sure if we can handle that.
But we also have a town full of festival goers. I think just murdering a couple of people here in town would probably be a good stopgap for now.
Yeah, I mean,
I just liked.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, in all the confusion, who's going to miss a couple farmers, right?
Someone will, and that's the problem.
Or farmers. They ain't got money for no lawyers.
What were you going to say, Shane? Or not Shane, Blake.
Like,
Yeah. I was gonna say, everyone write down on your character sheets that we're gonna buy masks, because that's gonna be critical to keeping our identities somewhat secret.
I am Jack McSweeney. I do not need to give my identity secret.
Yeah, spread the McSweeney name.
So that's going to do it for this week, and hopefully everybody will be back next week. And we'll try to sandbag an episode, because next week is going to be the bonus episode of Jarek the Entertainer. That story will finally be told.
Huzzah!
Neato.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dungeons and Debacles podcast. If I could ask a halfling-sized favor, give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It's the best way to support us. New episodes come out every Monday, so make sure to check your podcast app. Do you have an idea to make the podcast better? Tell us about it on Twitter or Facebook. You can also check out our website to see all the maps, lore, and characters at dungeonsanddebacklespodcast.com. And now a word from our fantasy sponsor. As an important powerful and wealthy person, it could be so hard to stand out in the crowd these days. Make a statement wherever you go with the latest and forward-thinking fashions from Marcus's haute couture. We have the finest materials from all corners of Suel, exotic dyes in every shade of the rainbow, and unrivaled craftsmanship. Whether it's your wedding, a graduation, a holiday, or a coronation, we have a style for any occasion that will make you look your best. They will know you came to Marcus as soon as you walk into the room. Located in the finest shopping district in Conley and the world, you can find us in the North Market. Marcus's haute couture, because you are worth it. The music you heard on this episode was At Rest, Shadowlands 1 Horizon, The Descent, Evening of Chaos, Long Road Ahead, Village Consort, and Minstrel Guild by Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.